Oh, hi. Welcome to Aquatazoo, where we like to nerd out over all things zoo and aquarium related. I'm l.semple, and today I'd like to talk to you a little bit about teamwork in zoos and aquariums. This topic kind of popped into my head randomly, but it is pretty important, and in zoo and aquarium type operations, it's very important to mention that those of us who work in animal care need to be able and willing to work as part of a team, because I've worked with a lot of keepers and aquarists who are not of that mindset, and I understand because I also was not when I first got involved. So let's talk about it. Once upon a time, I was a baby aquarist, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, ready to work with fish for the rest of my life. Love that. Had been obsessed with ocean stuff since I was a kid, right? Living the dream, marine biology nerd, all that fun stuff. Got the education, got the job, and then I was like, cool, now I work with animals. Now I don't have to deal with people anymore. That's nice. That is incorrect. In my brain, I kind of knew that, but in my soul, I was not aware. So I just wanted to bring this up today because I've met a lot of other aquarists. It's primarily in aquarists, I would say, but there's also other keepers that I've met who are of the same mindset. They get into this work because they love working with animals. They love animals. They love everything about them, taking care of them, doing all the things, educating others about them even, but they don't necessarily put a lot of emphasis or effort into the team aspects of the work. Very rarely do you find a facility, at least an AZA accredited facility, where you're going to be working on your own all the time. You know, there are times when you do, and individual projects and things and assignments that you might be on your own for, of course, but you're probably part of a larger team. And that may be a small team, it might be a large team, but you are going to be a part of some sort of team because animal care is a kind of all around the clock sort of job. Now, granted, we're not there all the time, but we're thinking about what the animals are doing when we're not there, right? And we can't work ourselves to death every day. We need a break too. So more than likely, you at least have a counterpart, a singular person who is a part of your team who's helping you to deal with all of the animal care things, right? And generally in aquarium and zoo work, no matter what you're doing, whether it's education or admissions or retail or anything like that, you are part of a team. You're not working on your own. Hardly any of us are. And even at the point that you become the manager, the leader, you're working with a team. Every step of the way, there's a team involved. Your team might change, right? So that's what I wanted. That's why I wanted to bring this up and talk about it, because it's something that I feel like sometimes gets forgotten, and we try to just get through the day and avoid people. At least I have in the past before. I've gotten a little bit better about it now. I understand the value of the teamwork now. But yeah, baby aquarist me was very much a loner and wanted to just do my work and have everyone else leave me alone. It's not that I'm necessarily bad with people. It was just not something that I thought deeply about. You know, I was focused on the animals. I was focused on that technical work and tweaking things and making adjustments, and I loved that part, right? But ultimately, there are customers around me, the customers being my team. They're expecting things of me. They're expecting me to help them with larger projects, larger animal care operations. There's a lot that happens behind the scenes of a zoo or aquarium that requires a group of people to come together and work on the same thing at the same time. And I don't feel like that gets mentioned enough. As a zoo or aquarium professional, you have to be good at both lone work as well as teamwork. And so doing the lone work where you control yourself and you do what you do is not that hard to wrap your mind around. But then when you get into the teamwork stuff, that gets a little more complicated because there are factors at play here that you don't control. And for some people, that does not go over well. I often say that really you can only control yourself in any given situation, right? Some people can control themselves, some people can't, but really the only one you have the option to control is yourself. So that's when things get complicated, when you're trying to control other people, influence other people, make people do what you want them to do, make them handle things the way you want them to handle them. That's not how real life works. You can't control other people. And even as a manager, you technically really can't control everything about how people work. You can think you can, and you can try, but ultimately that's an independent human being adult who has their own hopes and dreams and strengths and weaknesses. They're not always going to see things the same way you do. They're not going to always want to do it the same way you want them to do it, and that is okay. The only thing you can control is yourself. And that is an important piece to remember when you're thinking about working on a team, which you have to do if you're going to work in a zoo or aquarium. We're made up of teams. And so I can't think of even one position that works completely independently. I'm sure there's times where some positions work more on their own than others, but still, we all end up still being on a team, and that's important. Why is it important? There's a lot of play here. When you're dealing with animals, you're dealing with kind of safety risks, right? And it's helpful to have team members around you who can help you figure out what's going on and view things a little bit differently than you do. So in some cases, it's required to have at least one other person involved in an operation going into an animal enclosure or dealing with a certain type of animal. That is required. You have to deal with another person. You better know how to deal with them, right? You better work together as a unit so that you can communicate clearly so that you're safe, right? You're seeing two different viewpoints of the same situation, and you can warn each other or help each other out to make sure that the animal is safe, the staff is safe, everyone is good, and there are no problems for this operation that you're trying to accomplish. And I'm not saying that a teammate that you don't get along with, you're just going to let them do whatever and cause a problem for themselves or for you just because you don't get along with them. I'm not saying that at all. I'm assuming that you're going to at least be humanly decent and let that person know, even if you don't get along with them, that they're about to be in danger or something has escaped their view or something like that, right? It's a safety thing, but also if your teammate that you care about is doing something silly, you're able to like head them off. Because you have to. It's a danger to be in the same space as an animal, let's say. And that's why you're working in a team to start with, to cover each other, to view the same thing from different perspectives and get a different idea of what's happening. You might be looking at the same behavior and interpret it differently from an animal, right? And so having teammates see that same sort of thing with you and talking it out can give you a clearer picture of what's actually happening, right? So if you see an animal that is limping and your partner in crime, your teammate on this side actually saw that the animal was not eating their food maybe, or looking at another animal in the enclosure, signifying that they're paying more attention to that animal than what's going on around them. There's a lot of different factors at play that you might not be able to see based on your viewpoint. And it's always good to understand that in this team environment, there are a lot of things happening all at once. We're all looking at the same thing and coming up with different ideas about what's going on and different explanations for what's happening. So if you saw some animal limp and the other keeper saw the look at the other animal that's in the same enclosure, you may come together and put together the idea that perhaps this animal sustained an injury from that other animal and is now concerned about what's going on. They can't communicate this to you with their words, right? The animals can't do that. So we as a team have to come together, look at the situation and analyze it and trying to figure out how to respond, right? So in this case, we might have an animal that was injured by another animal. The animal is not doing so well, maybe not eating their food. So probably the most sensible option at this point is to separate them until you can get a vet involved and assess what's going on. And so you need to have teammates to kind of figure this out. And you've likely got differing levels of experience involved as well. So what somebody might see in an animal's behavior, this happens all the time where I work, if we've got a newer keeper who says, oh, I saw this animal do this thing, and then say our senior keeper is responding and says, oh, this particular individual just does that, and that's normal for them. And the senior keeper knows that because this is an animal that we've been dealing with for years and it's always been fine. And if we saw that same behavior in a different animal, we might be a little bit more concerned. But for this one, it's okay, right? Just because they have the experience to understand what that animal, that individual animal is about and how they go about their day, and just be okay with the fact that it is doing this weirdo behavior that we're not usually seeing in other animals, and it being okay. If you are working on your own in a situation like that, that would probably not benefit the welfare of the animals, right? Because now you've interpreted this behavior in a certain way and you're doing a certain response, but we're not fixing the problem, if there even was a problem to begin with. So having the team around and interpreting things and talking about things in a different way and being open to those different viewpoints is really important to zoo and aquarium work and to animal welfare work in general. Working with the team also kind of spreads out the responsibility a little bit. You don't have to be responsible for everything. You shouldn't want to be, nor should you be saddled with that sort of thing. If you've got a team there to help you out, everybody can be picking up some pieces of the things that are going on and the work that needs to be done. It's really easy for somebody to get burnt out if they're like the only one doing most of this work. It's a lot that needs to happen. It's multifaceted. It can be very complicated. It can be physically and mentally taxing and emotionally taxing. So having a team around you to kind of bear that weight with you is obviously a good choice, as long as you're okay and understand that teamwork is a part of this process. It's for your own good, it's for the animal's good, it's for your team's good, and no single person should be bearing all of that responsibility. Also, it's just fun. It's fun to have a team around. When animals do crazy stuff and you're the only one to witness it, then it's not as fun as when somebody else sees it and you both can talk about it for forever. It's a group of people that have kind of similar interests and similar drives, and why wouldn't you want to surround yourself with people that have kind of those similar interests that you can connect with? They might be a little bit different from you, and that's okay. Everything's good. Like, all of those different opinions, viewpoints, and things are valuable. And just surrounding yourself with people who love these animals as much as you do is fantastic. It can only mean good things. Like I said, I once upon a time was the type of person who was all 100% into the animal care work and 0% into the teamwork. Not that I didn't like my team, I just didn't put as much value on them and just put as much effort into maintaining those relationships like I did the relationships with the animals. And that was my mistake. It took me way too long to realize that. And now that I've tried to correct it, I'm not perfect, but I still try. Now that I've done that, I see the same issues with other keepers as I've gone through my career. I've met some that are just like, I don't care. I'm not going to bother with the team. I'm just going to do my work. Like, sure, I'll help out where it's absolutely necessary, but I'm not going to put in that effort to build relationships with the team, right? And that tends to really hurt people, especially if they're ambitious in wanting to move up in zoos and aquariums. You probably will have a hard time with that, because if you're not even getting along with a team on a peer level, you're definitely not going to get along with them on a manager type level or supervisor type level. So that is something important to consider. And I'm not saying that you need to put up with the team just so you can get ahead. Don't view it like that. That is not what I mean. But there's like a different skill set involved that needs development. Again, I absolutely realized this too late, but there are two different skill sets involved here. There's the animal care skill set that I loved. Great, fabulous. Animals are wonderful, and I enjoyed every bit of that. But then there's this people skill set that I wrote off as being unnecessary to my own detriment. And it took me so long to realize my mistake that I had opportunities pass me by because basically I wasn't really putting a lot of effort into getting along and helping other people out and getting involved with the team on for success as a group. I was really kind of only wrapped up in what I was doing, and sure, I'd help out here and there as was required of my job, but I didn't really take it any further than that. And so I did miss out on some opportunities because of that, because I had no people skills. It's a different skill set. I wasn't interested in that skill set. I was interested in the technical stuff, the animal stuff, and I figured that's all I needed. And it dawned on me way too late that I needed another skill set to be able to navigate the people side of my job, which is a big portion of what I do. And so that was my own fault, and I don't have anybody to get mad at about that except for me. But at least I did eventually realize what was happening and why not everyone loved working with me all the time. Not that they have to, they certainly don't, but I definitely have more people that are willing to work with me now than were willing to work with me back then. And I'm telling you, as somebody who was so hardcore about the animals and the technical skills and just wanting to work with the animals because I don't have to work with people and I didn't have interest in people, understand that if you're in that boat, you can fix it. If you're hearing this right now and you're concerned because you're so far to that one side of wanting only the animal and technical skills, but also wanting to like move up in your career and, you know, maybe become a supervisor at some point or, you know, a mentor for someone, you can get there. You just have to make the conscious choice to do it. It's not easy. It's not necessarily fun, but it is very rewarding in the end because I was a dope. As a baby Aquarist who was like not interested in dealing with people, I can straight up admit at this point that I was being silly and that I thought I had it all figured out, but I had zero figured out. I had nothing figured out. Granted, you know, when I was young, we all are in that time period at some point. We think we know everything and we don't. But this was one that took me so long to realize. But I want you to know that it is possible. If you make the conscious choice to start working with your team, because you are definitely a part of one at some point if you're working in zoos and aquariums, you can make the choice to work with your team and get better at it. Read some books, watch some videos. If you want some recommendations, I'm happy to provide those, but you have to make the conscious choice to like open yourself up to that sort of self-evaluation. Or you can just ask someone you trust about how you can improve that or where your strengths are, or where your weaknesses are as far as that type of interaction with people goes. The people that love you the most will be able to talk to you about that if you're truly asking them about it. Hopefully they don't sugarcoat things too much, but you can change that is what I'm saying. It is possible. I wanted only to work with technical stuff once upon a time, only wanted to work with animals, but I also am kind of ambitious and did want to someday lead and mentor. Not necessarily that I'm looking for power, but I just wanted to help the next generation of animal care people, right? That's what I'm aiming to do. I'm not in it to try and be the boss, you know. That's not really my forte, my desire, my hope. It's a byproduct of what naturally happens as you get better at dealing with people and mitigating conflict and dealing with lots of different personality types. If you are interested in that sort of thing, you will move up in the team world based on your desire and ability to navigate those kinds of issues. But really, what drove me to finally change was that I wanted to help out the next generation of keepers and pass along my knowledge of all of the things that I know how to do and my knowledge of what's going on with these animals and all that. I wanted to pass that on to the next generation. Well, I can't just do that. I have to deal with people to be able to do that. And so that's when I realized, oh, I've got to be better at this people stuff, dealing with a team, working on a team, helping a team, because then we will build that trust that then I can use to help other people and pass on that information. Nobody's going to want to just listen to me being an ornery old Aquarius that doesn't want to work with other people, but has all this knowledge locked away in their brain. It's really hard to get comfortable with that. I have worked with Aquarius who are like that, who have so much knowledge locked in their mind, and they're so brilliant and they're so good at what they do, but they also don't have people skills to kind of share that unless you work with them one-on-one for months and months and months, right? Until they trust you enough to take that information from them. And that's just a lot to expect people to put up with just to get some institutional knowledge or technical information from another person. So try not to do that. Believe me, I know that it is tempting and it is more comfortable to just kind of lock yourself away in your own little space with the stuff that you like the most, the work that you enjoy the most, the animals that you like. But it's not helpful in the end for your success in the future, because people are going to kind of evaluate you as being standoffish or not a team player or just not, I don't know, super helpful with things that the job does require, and that's teamwork, right? So you don't want to be misjudged, because if you're anything like me, you're not actually a difficult person. It's just you have prioritized something over teamwork and over building relationships with other people, and it just doesn't work out as flawlessly, I suppose, for your future in that organization. And no, I'm not telling you that you have to be super bubbly and social and fake extroversion. You don't have to, but just understand that teamwork, in the case of zoo and aquarium work, is a requirement. We have to do it if we're going to succeed, either as a group or as animal care people or as an organization, because we need everybody to give their input. We need those different viewpoints. We need all of that stuff to do the job to the best of our abilities, to be able to be resilient as an organization or as a team, to recognize issues with animal welfare, to do just about anything that we do. It requires a lot of people. It requires a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of viewpoints and opinions. It doesn't mean that you're always going to be the one whose opinion matters the most, or the one whose the decisions are made based off of, but still offer your opinion. Be a part of the group. Care a little bit about the people around you, because I guarantee that they care about you. So don't be like me. Don't be so blind to this for forever that you're kind of behind in your development as a professional because you just kind of ignored the people portion of the work. Get on that. Pay attention to it. It's not like it takes a ton of effort. It doesn't. It might stretch you a little beyond your comfort zone, but that's not a bad thing. I just want other people to be aware of the fact, if you're looking to get into this field or looking to move up, I guess, in this field, that being a part of a team, working with people, is a part of the job. It is a requirement. And it can be very fun. It might start with just actually having conversations with the folks around you, getting to know them, getting to know their hobbies, what drives them, all of those things that we like to talk about with ourselves, I guess. It's good to build those kinds of bonds with other people. And also, the field itself is very small. So if you start gaining the reputation of being someone who's super standoffish or doesn't want to participate in team building, teamwork, team events, then that kind of gets around. And so future employers, I call people who I know who have worked with somebody in the past and get their opinions and ideas about what that person can do, in a different type of work environment, my work environment. And a lot of other hiring managers do that as well. So it's a very small world that we work in. We're all interconnected, and it's not just aquariums. It's not just zoos. Zoos and aquariums are intertwined as well. So just understand your impact, negative or positive, and make sure that You're not painting yourself to be something that you're not. I was never like a terrible, mean person. There were times that I came across that way just because I was not particularly interested in the teamwork aspect of things. And I just want other people to avoid doing that because it set me back for a little bit. And just understand that teamwork and people, relationship work, relationship building, all of that takes effort. It takes time. It's never quote unquote done. Just like with our technical work that we love so much, it's never done, right? We just continue to improve. We continue to do research and get better and become more knowledgeable, get more experience. All of that still happens for the technical work, but it also should be happening for the people skills and the people work. And I just want to make sure that you're paying attention to both of those sides of the coin because they both matter as far as your future success. Even if you desire only to be in that same position where you're doing that technical work and you're working with animals directly until the end of time, you'll be much more successful and probably happier if you make sure that you're working on those people skills as well and making sure that you're not coming across a way that you didn't intend to, because that's kind of what naturally happens. If you're kind of avoidant of the group activities or putting a lot of effort into building relationships, then nothing's going to happen there and things are going to change around you and you're not going to understand why. Been there, done that. And I just want to make sure that I'm not the only one who knows it now. Because I know there's lots of people out there who think like I used to and did not understand the weight and the importance of building relationships with people. I was not a great early professional in the people department, and therefore I stunted my own growth for a little bit. And I can only blame myself. And if I can stop one person from doing that and encourage them to, build relationships and open up to people a little bit more, you don't have to tell them your entire life story. That's your business. But, give them something to work with, like the fact that, oh, I have a dog and its name is this and it's this type of dog and I go on walks 3 times a day, right? Just little stuff. It's not super personal, but it's just a little bit of information that you can give others to connect with them a little bit, because maybe somebody else has the same type of dog, or maybe they live near you and you could go on a walk together or something like that. Just building relationships with other people, making a connection over possibly the silliest little thing. Just don't shut yourself off to the possibilities. You could be missing out on some great friends, a great support system, and learning things from like the technical work from other people who know even more, who have been around for a while and can show you more and show you what they know. Just understand that if you're going to enter into this field, it is not just animal work that is happening. We do all sorts of things, but a lot of it, more than you would guess, I would say, revolves around people, because our guests have to be a part of it. The internal customers, who are essentially your coworkers, are a part of it. Your supervisors, your leadership team, your whole organization is built around people. So just understand that and don't write it off right away. Because I did that and I understand how it can mess you up. It's not an absolute detriment to your career, though. I climbed my way out of my own hole of my making. So I believe that you can too if you want to. But I just want you to be aware so that you're not going into this blind with expectations and then suddenly you're hit with some reality that you were not prepared for. So I'm trying to prepare you, okay? Get out there and build those relationships with people. Okay, if you have any questions about that or any other zoo or aquarium things or leadership and management stuff, let me know. You can write it up in an email and send it to me at aquatazoo@gmail.com. If you're enjoying the show, and I hope that you do, don't forget you can follow or subscribe on your podcast player of choice. That way you'll get all of that sweet, sweet content as soon as it releases. If you'd like to support the podcast directly, you can find me at patreon.com/aquatazoo. And if you're looking to take a vacation and you don't know where to start, I happen to be a personal vacation advisor with Magical Vacation Planner, and I would love to help you out. It does not cost you anything extra. The links are in the show notes. Okay. Thanks for listening. I heart your faces. Okay, bye.